All right, guys. So I'm using my computer camera and microphone. I don't know how it's going to sound. Hopefully it sounds okay. I figured we would give it a shot today just to see. It's a little easier to do it this way than setting up my phone to do it. But it is shoulder day, Flex Friday, and let me tell you, uh, it's hot outside when I'm doing these shrugs. Okay, it's hotter than a three-peckered billy goat. So I was only able to actually get 3 sets. I'm sorry, 2 sets here before I thought I was going to have a freaking heat stroke. But um, we have some quarters at the top, like the top rack here. They were just there. I just didn't move them. But I loaded the 2 plates on the bottom. So, I mean, technically it's 2 1/4 on each side. It was so hot. Like I almost went inside after the first set, but I was like, let me just hack through it. Let me do my 3 sets normally here. I could only do 2. So this is the second and final set of uh, outdoor shrugs. So leaning forward a little bit. I like to lean forward just a little bit on this machine, just so I can really like squeeze my traps back like this. But it was, with the exception of the heat, it was an otherwise 2 really good sets. Um, Medium weight. I probably could have gone heavier like I did last week if it just wasn't so damn hot outside. I definitely would have done probably 3 or 4 sets, but there was no way. I had to get out of the heat. It was, I think it was like 101 out there, and it's not even so much the heat, but the humidity, right? So this is an interesting thing. When I used to work out with Jeff, when we used to train together, um, I used to spot him on this machine, and I noticed when I would spot him when I'm coming up, I could feel my traps getting worked, right? So I figured I'd come over here. I haven't done these in a very long time, but I'm doing upright row on an overhead hammer press machine, right? And the only issue with this is the top of the seat only allowed me to get so close to the handles. So I would have preferred to be a little closer, like maybe another like 4 or 5 inches closer to the handles, but it actually felt pretty good. So I rocked out 2 sets with this, and it's light. Excuse me. It's only a quarter on each side. I could have gone heavier because I did go relatively high rep here. I haven't been counting, but excuse me. I think it was in the teens. So, um, but this does feel good. It would have felt better for the traps had I just been even like 3 inches closer in. But because of the seat, the angle of the seat on this one, it prevents me from getting as close as I want to get to it. Well, I always have an itchy nose when I'm talking on here. Crazy. Um, but we just cranked out 2 sets here. I wanted to hit the try. I almost went over to the Smith machine. I was going to do some standard shrugs, but I just figured I would do these. I haven't done them in a while. I don't know if anyone else has ever tried this, but I literally discovered it by spotting people. And I noticed that it was like giving me, like just spotting and going with people. I was like, yeah, I really feel that in the upper traps there. So, form's decent if I was a little bit closer. So, I don't know that I would put this. They felt good enough to do 2 sets. I don't know if they feel good enough for me to constantly do this as a regular exercise. If I was able to get a little bit closer, I probably would. Go over here, hitting some rear delts. I'm hitting them with the dumbbells the way I really like to do them, which is just being reverse on a bench, supporting my chest with the excuse me, with the back of the bench, the back pad. Can't talk today. And we're just doing, pinkies out, just coming back and hitting the rear deltoid muscle. These felt good. I think, looking at it, I think the form could maybe be a little bit better. Something's not right. I'm looking at it. I can't really pinpoint it. Maybe I feel like my hands are too far forward. Um, but when they're closer in, it doesn't feel like I'm hitting the rear delt. So, but when I come out with them slightly and come back, I feel it in the rear delt. And maybe it just looks funny to me. Maybe the form is perfectly fine. I'm not sure. Just visually, it looks off, but it could just be the way I'm looking at it. So just hit it from a little bit of a different angle here, just so you can see it from the back. I think we stuck with the same weight, 35s. This was a decent weight. It was I used the wrist straps with these too. I don't always use the wrist straps, but I had them on my hands from the shrugs and doing the upright rows. I just left them on, figured I'd put them on. Uh, they're pretty good. I mean, like I said before, it just takes a lot of the work out of the forearm. Coming back, let's see here. Yeah, it the form the form looks good. I feel like I'm kind of closing my back too much when I'm coming up. I don't know. Hmm. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to play with this the next time I do it. I feel like when I'm doing these, I'm like bringing my shoulder blades back together too much when I feel like they should be more out like this. Again, it might just be a perception thing the way I'm looking at it from right here. So I've never really watched myself do these like this before, except when I've edited a few videos before, but I don't really pay too close attention. But now when I do the commentary, I'm physically watching my videos, so it's pretty spent after this. So we only did two sets here, and I just went over to the cable stack. Since the gym was relatively empty on a Friday, late afternoon, I figured I would take advantage of this thing instead of going outside and risking having a freaking heat stroke. These were pretty good. Um, Shoulders are down. I think this is 40 pounds on each side. I think. Yeah, I think it's 40. So at this point, from the shrugs, the upright rows, and two sets of relatively heavy dumbbell reverse flies, my rear delts, they're starting to get tired, right? So, yeah, maybe if I started out with this, I'd probably throw for the 50s, 5 plates on each side. Yeah, it just wasn't happening right now. So they're getting pretty tired. These actually felt really good. Um, it's funny when I do dumbbell reverse flies. While I'm actually doing it, it never feels like they're really working the rear delt the way I want it to. But then the next day, I'm always like ridiculously sore. So I know it is working. It's just that in the moment, it doesn't feel as good as something like this. Whereas these cables, I just, my rear delts feel fried by the time I do a few sets of these. So just reverse myself here so you can see it from the back. Shoulders are down. Body is mostly stationary. Head's kind of bobbling just a little bit, but I think that's normal. I don't think that's affecting the movement very much. But I like these. I am happy with the form, and they felt really good. We did a drop set here. So we went from, did we go from 40 to 30? I think we went 40 to 30. And if you'll watch here, I guess because of the humidity, the bottom plate the plates are sticking together. They're not supposed to be like that. I got to fix it, which I do here. See, I can feel it. I'm like, damn, that's way too heavy. So I got to kick it down. There we go. And the one on the right. There we go. Now it's the proper weight. Now it's 30 pounds. So now we can start hammering away here. Not bad. Like I said, my body, I'm not like, like I've said it before, I see some guys, they're doing this shit, but I'm staying nice and stationary, and all the tension's just staying on the rear delt. Looks pretty good to me. I don't have any objections to this, but I think we just capped it at 2 sets there. So 2 dumbbell, 2 cables. And then I was going to do a pressing movement first, but I actually saved the pressing movement for last, which I sometimes do just to just kind of jumble up just kind of mix it up a little bit, trick the muscles. So we grabbed, are they 30s or 35s? I don't even remember. I think I showed it. The 30s, look like the 30s. They were just coming straight up, just hitting the front delt. I'm starting to get tired after what I had already done, like the shrugs, the upright rows, the dumbbell reverse flies, the cable reverse flies. So even though those were not front delts, I'm still getting tired. Like I'm exerting a lot of energy here. Normally, when I do these, I try not to come all the way down and rest. I want the tension to remain 100% on the front delt. But you can see there's a handful of times on these where I'm coming all the way down and taking the tension off the front delt. Yeah, no big deal. I mean, we're still working the muscle. If it was a little bit lighter, I would have been able to not have to come down and pause at the bottom. But the 30s felt really heavy considering what I had already done. So just rocked out another set. This one, I still have the 30 pounds, but I also have a pair of 20s on the ground. So I'm going to do a drop set here. And again, you know, these today, I didn't do them the exact way that I normally like to do them, which is not coming all the way down and giving the front delt a rest, like I just said. Um, so, but no big deal. Normally, when I'm standing up and I'm doing one hand at a time, I'm really good at not coming all the way down and resting and just having constant tension on the front delt. But these, I mean, look, not every movement's going to be perfect, right? Like, not even C-Bum can do everything perfect, right? Dorian Yates doesn't do everything perfect. So you're going to have some things that you got to improvise on. So we went kind of heavy with those 30 pounds. Because there's nothing supporting me. If I was standing up and holding onto the bench and I was doing single arm, probably 35 or 40 pounds. But being that it's two in the hand, they're heavier that way. So we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot of resting at the bottom. I'm not a huge fan of it, but whatever. The front delts were really burning up, so I really can't complain. Did a rest pause here. Excuse me. And then we just continued, crank out another few reps. And by the way, after the last exercise, I am going to cut the video right there because I have 4 hours of class that I have to end very shortly. So we're going to throw this video up and jump into class. So I got to kind of cut the video, the commentary a little bit short today on a Friday night. Nothing like going to school on a Friday night. But yeah, we're burning up. We're starting to get tired. But shoulder workout, I mean, shoulder workout was great today. Zero complaints with it. So we went over here. I love this relic of a machine. It is just an amazing machine. Just the way it's configured. Now I like the one at Planet Fitness too. Don't get me wrong, that one feels good too. But something about this old school piece of machinery here, it just hits different. I don't know if it's just psychological or if it really is configured just slightly different to where it just hits it different. But overall, these felt really good as well. Looking good. Shoulders dropped. No crazy bouncing around movements or anything like that. So I'm happy with the outcome of this set. I have no problem with it. I'm sweating like a pig. When I came home, I had to jump in the shower immediately because my pants were more soaked than my shirt, believe it or not. My legs sweat like crazy. So, okay. So one set there. I almost fell over there. I remember that. Here I'm just checking the rear delt more than anything because you kind of see it starting to round out in the back there, just kind of starting to poke out a little bit. I like that. That's good. That was never there before, or at least for many years anyway. So I'm giving a thumbs up. Shoulders are getting there. We're making we've made a lot of progress with shoulders over like the past year and a half, I would say 2 years. Because remember, I was that guy who was always like, let me train chest, back, and arms. I'll do legs once in a while, and shoulders, I'm doing my shoulders when I do chest, so I don't need to do shoulders. But what I noticed is, my shoulders were flat and my arms were getting bigger. And it didn't look right, you know? So since I started training the shoulders and bringing them up, the overall aesthetic looks 10 times better. So definitely work your shoulders unless you're genetically gifted. Some people only have to train their shoulders like once a month. That is not me for sure. But so then we finished off here. This may look like 2 sets, but it's a drop set, but the video cuts. So I got 2 plates on each side. It's by no means super heavyweight, but at this point, at the end of the workout, it's heavy, man. So there's no way I was putting 2 1/4 on there because I wouldn't have been able to get it up. So here we go. Let's check the form. All right, back again, head against the pad. Good, good, good. Shoulders down. Good. All the way up. One thing I will point out is my wrists. I noticed on these, I'm watching it, my wrist is kind of bent backward a little bit. It's kind of, that happens when you're trying to hold the weight, on a grip, but normally I would prefer to hold it. I'll concentrate next time on holding it more straight like this. Because you can have an accident and sprain your wrist. Trust me, I've seen it happen. So this is the drop set right here. We're getting pretty close to the end here. If you guys haven't been to the gym yet, get your ass to the gym. And I will definitely see you guys tomorrow for arms. We are hitting the arms on Saturday. I have 10 hours of class tomorrow and 10 hours of class Sunday. I don't know what time I'm going to get to the gym, but we'll definitely see you there. I did a little rest pause here. I'll try to go in a little bit. I didn't really record any. I didn't record any dietary stuff today, but I'll record some stuff tomorrow that I make throughout the day because my classes are right here in front of the computer. It's all online, so which is kind of cool. It's very convenient. I had the option of doing in-person class or online, so I chose the online. It was a little bit easier, but yep, not bad. We cranked out a few more reps here. Not too shabby. My shoulders are, I can feel them right now. They were definitely worked properly today. So this is the end. Hope you guys enjoyed the workout. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a blessed night, everybody.